At Your End Step is brought to you by Comic Town and BCW Supplies. Hello, and welcome to At Your End Step. My name is Morgan. I'm here with Dave.
Hello.
And Mike.
It's me, Mike.
And we're here with another fun-filled episode for you folks this week. Mike's been on a Mario Odyssey binge.
Oh my gosh, I played so much of it Sunday, and I got to watch the Pro Tour coverage too. It was just
He's actually gotten a little bit shorter and has grown a very healthy mustache.
And he's wearing overalls for some reason.
He seems
Yeah.
to think that his hat's possessed by an alien, and he keeps trying to throw it at us and take over our bodies. I don't get it.
I also
but-
plunged a few toilets.
Yeah, there you go.
So-
Perfect. Technically, I want you to know that Mario is no longer.
No, I heard that.
He's
I
not a
did.
plumber anymore.
I did, I hear-
He
I
doesn't.
did.
He's retired to do whatever it is that Mario does. I don't even know if the man technically really was
did he
ever a
retire
plumber.
with like full pension? Like, is Mario a 50-year-old man going on adventures?
I assume. I mean, he's probably
Is it-
part of a
is this-
union of some persuasion.
Is this
so
Up, the movie?
It's-
Like,
yeah.
trying to find the waterfall?
It seems like a bit more whimsical. Also, I don't think the old there were dinosaurs in Up, right? Was that? I've never seen the movie.
Dinosaurs? No, I don't think it
No,
was
just
that.
dogs. It's just an island of dogs, right? Or just
No.
one
There was
dog?
one dog.
There one
There
dog?
was
Yeah.
a pack of dogs. The other guy had a pack of dogs.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm like, there's multiple
But
dogs.
no, the island had like a rare bird.
yeah, the bird. That's kind of like a Yoshi, kind of.
It had a male name, but then they realized it was a girl. I'm trying to remember what it was.
Oh,
I'm just gonna call it
been a
Jeffrey.
while.
Jeffrey the
Yeah.
bird.
you did spoilers.
Can I spoil the movie Up?
No, probably not.
You know what? The title's a spoiler. Okay, how? Wait a second. The house flies.
I'm like, the most surprising thing in that movie like happens within like the first 5 minutes, right? Like it's like, oh, it's the saddest
oh no,
Pixar
yeah, that's
movie
like it's
that's
really
ever
sad.
existed.
It's super sad.
So
Yeah,
Cool.
That's Doug's funny though. Oh, Doug's funny
I get it. They
because there's a character called Doug Funny.
from
Yeah,
the
yeah,
show,
called
I get it.
Doug.
titular show named
Yeah.
Doug.
Yeah, he liked the girl named Patricia Mayonnaise.
Patricia Mayonnaise.
Mayonnaise.
His best friend was Skeeter.
Yeah.
The show is dumb. The show's great, but
You know what's
man,
really funny is I really like that show, but then I watched like the Chappelle Show and I never thought of Skeeter the same way. I'm dead. I died.
Yeah, try not to think about it. But now you can't not think about it.
right,
I
exactly.
mean, he is blue.
It's true. And then
it a dog
we had
named-
the
Dog named Pork Chop.
pork dog, and then Roger Klotz,
Roger Klotz.
the bully, who was green.
I don't know.
He was. He was
okay,
green.
fair enough.
I remember. You had the Beats.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Killer Tofu?
That band is great.
Yeah.
I need more allowance.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Man,
Welcome to Doug Talk.
Dog. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Today we're going to talk about Season 3, Episode 8.
Yeah, let's do it.
People would listen to that.
Yeah, I guarantee
want you
they
to know that. So, anyway, we have a few magic-related things to talk about this week, I
Not
suppose.
everything's gonna be Mario and Nicktoons.
I mean, to be fair,
Though, what a great afternoon.
I go, right? I'm like, this is someone's childhood, not necessarily mine. I was a Sega Genesis kid.
Well,
so.
you can use the hat to just take it, to take their childhood.
Just take it, just throw it on them. Your childhood's mine now. I'm never letting go.
Mario's kind of evil.
Oh, yeah.
In Super Mario Odyssey, he's pretty
Yeah,
evil.
I would say there's a lot of ethical questions that are raised by like throwing your hat. Like animals and stuff, I guess, whatever. But there's like full-grown humans that you
Yeah.
just throw your hat at, and they're like, "Okay, I'm you now," and you're like, "I don't know." Like,
There's a soul inside there that
Like,
you're snuffing out.
I read the
a little
Animorphs
bit.
as a kid, and even they were like, we don't morph into other humans though, because that's weird.
That's weird.
And Mario's like, nah, bruh.
I was like, screw your ethics.
Your soul is mine.
Like Shang Tsung from Mortal Kombat.
Yep, absolutely.
Maybe he actually is Shang Tsung
God.
transformed into Mario.
I figured it out.
And he figured out how to find more souls.
Oh man.
Wow, this is a. Yeah, well,
We're just all over the place.
I think we discovered something that Nintendo owes NetherRealm some money. Apparently, it done stole their character, stole their IP.
Is NetherRealm still a thing? They
Yeah,
actually still make the Mortal Kombat games?
they do.
Oh, that's impressive.
Well, it used to be Midway.
Right.
But they broke off, and now the studio that makes them is actually
Midway and Acclaim. I remember all that fun stuff.
Yeah, man. It's great. Classic 16-bit. Very video game heavy opening to the show. Video game and Doug heavy.
Bet you didn't think we'd be there.
Here we are. It's been like 5 minutes in, and we're still on. Anyway, let's talk about some actual community topics, and then we'll talk about the Pro Tour and all that stuff that happened. Regionals happened too. We'll talk a little bit about that. But community topics first. First and foremost, we now know all the cards from the Vault transformed. Guess what? They're all of the best cards that transform, it turns out. Except for like a few, like maybe one glaring omission, potentially two. If you like want to really talk about it.
What are those?
The glaring omission is probably Westvale Abbey.
Yeah. That would have been a good one. Would have been a good one.
But we have obviously the heavy hitters. We have a bunch of planeswalkers technically. So we have Garrick Relentless / Garrick the Veil Curse. I'm not going to do both names. If you are interested, look them up.
I actually really like the Garrick Relentless. That's one of the ones that's new arts.
Yeah.
And the front art where he doesn't have his mask, it's kind of cool. But in the back one, he's full Bane. Yeah. He's got the mask on. He's got the purple veins,
all hooked up. And then we have like a new art for Master of the Fells. So I like the front. I do not like the back. I don't like this back art. It looks like the wolf. Like the fur is all bristly.
Elf.
And like it looks like it's holding one of those things you'd hold in the science class that like make your hair stand on the end. That's what this looks like. It's all bristled up.
It's not like some people were like, I don't know if like upset would be the word, but they're like kind of put off by the fact that they like changed it to a woman. It's like, well, like a hunt master could. It's not gender specific. Like it could be a woman. Like
if you're upset about that, find something real in the world to be upset.
Like get over it.
Just be real.
Yeah, but I do like I like the front art, the back art. Meh, a little unimpressed. Delver of Secrets, obviously / Insectile Operation. Art's good.
It's good, but like. Is it worth anything? Like, it looks like they just looked at the original art and said, keep it mostly the same.
We'll change the angle slightly.
Yeah, like, that's kind of weird. I don't know.
I mean,
I approve.
Yeah.
If the foiling looks nice on the double side, and I know how this foiling process looks, it'd be kind of cool to have like one of those because you don't normally have Delver in place. So you just have like one, you use the checklist card.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
That'd be the only way that I would play that because I don't like playing with.
No, you
foils.
won't play it in the sleeve. Absolutely not. It'll start curving anyways, or not. Again,
they're double sided. Yeah, double sided. They cancel each other out.
These are the only ones that stay straight.
Correct.
It's like if you take
it's a constant battle between both sides of like which one's going to work. It's like putting two magnets together that like on.
No, it's when you tape two cats together.
Yeah.
And then it just keeps spinning
forever. And then we have like Arcane Javison, which like just came out, so meh. And same with Arlen Cord.
Yeah,
meh.
This is if you want an argument for why this series needs to end, Arlen Cord should not have been in a From the Vault.
No.
Like literally, there's no vault. I could still go buy packs of this set and open this card. Like that. There's no vaults.
Bruna the fading light. I mean, Giselle's at least a mythic, but these are cool because obviously they show off the meld mechanic, and that's fine. But again, like not very exciting. Bloodline Keeper actually is kind of a good reprint because it's hard to reprint, and it's also kind of expensive because of the Vampire Commander deck that came out recently.
Well, Argul's Bloodfast.
That
like,
is
why?
That is wrong. That is like unequivocally wrong. You had 5 choices. You had 5 choices with it. Technically, more than 5 because you got a bunch of other transform cards. But out of like the set, you had 5. You picked on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the worst. You picked number 5. Any other one would have been acceptable.
I wish I would have gone back to just putting a card in from the next set. Now, granted, they may not have transform cards in the next set, but like
that would have been. I would have appreciated that. And then we have all 5 of the Origins walkers, which is like again, hey, these are all okay. So
my confusion is that when they showed off the art for this, Liliana's the one they put on the box. What?
They just had to get you. But
like, don't they want to sell the thing? Like,
yeah, like
nah.
Put Jace on the front. And it's
like you talk about price memory. People are like, oh man, I can buy this for $35. It has a card in it that used to be $100. Like, cool, I should buy that now. Put Liliana on it.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I mean, they all saw.
Would you rather they put Elbrus the Binding Blade on there?
That one should have been the Westvale Abbey, right?
Yeah,
because he even transforms into a demon.
Yeah.
You don't like Withengar and Bound? A little less impressed, but when someone dies, he gets
I did see this.
It's super big.
Yeah. Keller put this in the Type 4 stack. And
Yeah.
I had never seen the card before.
It got some counters.
I had
didn't
never
it?
seen it before. I was like, oh, that seems good in this multiplayer format. That's hilarious.
Mana
but
cost isn't a thing.
again, it's like, I don't know who actually wants this, really.
I don't know. Commander players, I guess. But whatever. Overall, I mean, there's definitely value to be had within this. So if you only buy these just to get value, it's there. But I know Mike and I are pretty much in agreement. Like the premise itself is dumb. Like it's just bad.
Yeah, this just feels like this is
Definitely
getting
feels
more,
like it's reaching for
yeah,
sure.
I can't. I don't know.
I
From
think-
the Vault Scry coming soon.
I think the exact wording I used was Mr. Fantastic levels of breaching. So
Hey, it has Delver Secrets and Jace Vryn's Prodigy. 2 cards that I played at regionals this weekend. So
Yeah.
hey.
that cool point you made
Yeah,
there,
no,
Dave.
I know.
The only thing I think would be cool if they did this, I wish they gave foil checklist cards for it.
that would.
That
I
would
think
that'd
that'd
be
be
sweet.
cool. Like unique checklist cards that would have gone with this. I think that could have gone a long way to like selling me on this. But they didn't do that. So
Yeah. Oh well. We also got some more information on the board game, for really lack of a better term, of Explorers of Ixalan.
standalone experience.
Standalone experience. Explorers of Ixalan.
Expirolon.
This is a thing where you have like a game that is based around tiles and these kind of 4 decks that you play, and it's a different way to play Magic, pretty much. So you got some deck lists for this, and they're all, I would say like arch enemy Nicol Bolas level of construction as far as that is concerned. But I know that MTG Goldfish did like a price analysis, and like you're still getting value for what it is. It's $64.99 MSRP for America. There are like surprisingly expensive cards, like cards that you're like, that's worth that much.
But it's also the kind of card that this can go a long way to like something like Aggravated Assault, which also like is a card that's almost $20, but its Invocation is almost the same price.
Yeah.
Like what was the other one? The Shared Animosity.
Yeah.
So it does have a Threads of Disloyalty in it though, which is that is a tough card to reprint. They managed to stick in there.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. Like, it's obviously not something for the spike as far as that is concerned. But I don't know. Maybe it might be something interesting to play like once or give it a shot. I know that Keller was kind of interested in this because he really enjoys unique multiplayer formats.
Yeah.
Hence, Type 4. So he was kind of wondering, like, well, I don't really want, like, I want to build my own decks with this, but I'm not sure if the tiles are like
card specific,
or like card type, like vampire specific, pirate specific. I would hope not. So we'll just kind of have to wait and see what it is and like see all the tiles when it comes out. But it's something new that they want to try, and I think it makes sense. Board games, I feel like, have gotten hotter and hotter every year.
So
the
hot
past
right
couple,
now.
so it's so hot. Just like if you're a nerd and like you're not playing board games, like what are you doing? Get on the trends, man.
#skulls.
And
Not really a board game, but I don't care.
it obviously, like, they make games, like it obviously makes sense for them to want to give it a shot and produce something a little bit more like all in one package,
Yeah, their actual board game didn't do well.
right? Because it like wasn't Magic,
Right. So I think they're trying to find one that sticks, that they keep trying these different play experiences, these out of the box experiences. Because obviously Hasbro itself is in the business of making board games. So I think they're trying to see if one, catches fire. But I do want to say that some of these, the new arts they have in some of these make a lot of sense. Mass Mutiny is probably the one that is the most flavorful, and it literally has this pirate like back, the captain against it, like But of course, the best card with new art in this entire thing is Jungle Barrier, Battle Box staple, and just happy to see it get some love.
Is it new art or just a new border?
Oh, it's new art.
It's new art, yeah.
I don't actually. It just looks like a writhing mass of plants. But
I don't agree that it's the best new art, but that's fine.
no. It's not the best new art. I just wanted to mention the card.
Okay.
The best card to see in this entire box. I don't care what the other cards are. Jungle Berry is in it.
I actually like the Jungle Shrine art.
Yeah, that is cool.
That's Rob Alexander land art. So
The Zealous Persecution is cool too. Like that card makes a ton of flavorful sense with the vampires that they have created in this block. So
yeah, they're very zealotrous.
I
Got a
thought
lot of zealotry in there.
when I first saw that, I thought it was actually from Rivals of Ixalan. I was like, man, this card's going to be insane, but
Yeah, the card be real
not
good.
not standard legal.
gosh, could you imagine the vampires deck we had at the Pro Tour with just
Yeah.
this card in it?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'll splash black for this and Fatal Push. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, it seems fine. No, Zealous Persecution, very, very powerful magic card. But yeah, we'll see how this is. I mean, if Keller is interested in it, we might actually end up playing it at some point
at
in
least
time.
try it
so-
out. Yeah, if we get to play it, we'll mention it back on here. Like
Yeah, for
what
sure.
what it's like.
And then lastly, Wizards is doing another fun promotion for Black Friday. So if you are not familiar with the tradition of Black Friday, it is when stores open on Thanksgiving and ruin Thanksgiving by giving insane deals.
That's technically Thursday.
Yeah, I understand what
No,
it
that's what's
technically
happened.
is.
This is what
Yeah.
this continues to happen.
Yeah, but they still keep calling it Black Friday, even though it's now Black Thanksgiving, which is just
It sounds like
tradition.
a really bad B horror movie,
right.
that I'm sure exists.
So yeah, basically, and apparently Wizards is getting in on this train, and they're going to have special booster packs that you can get by buying a box of Ixalan, right, your local participating retailer, and these are pretty nifty, like little specialty booster packs that you can get. And they contain 1 alternate art premium foil double face card from Ixalan, 2 premium foil basic lands, 4 rare or mythic cards from a standard legal set, and then 2 premium foil cards from any standard legal set. So the cool thing about this is the all of the all of the dual the transform cards that we were referencing, including Argyl's Blood Feast, are going to have special printings. Now, the front of them are going to have the original art, but the back are actually cutouts of the maps that they are referencing. So, Adonta the First Fort, instead of being like a picture of an actual fort, is going to be an actual cutout of a map. And this is actually applies to not just the 5 transform cards that we talked about.
Also all the artifacts too.
All the artifacts as well. So you can actually put a little map together if you buy a bunch of boxes.
Buy a bunch of boxes.
Like, look at this map I made.
No, you just open like 3 of the same one. Like you open 3 Argyl's Blood Feast. Like,
You're
why?
it's a very limited map.
The one that you can get out of the from the vault too. So. Yeah, the front side does have the stamp on it too.
Yeah,
the
the set
Ixalan.
stamp.
Yeah,
So yeah, these are pretty cool. So if you're planning on buying a box, let's say your local retailer's having a special sale on sealed boxes or what have you, there's kind of a bit of an incentive to go in there, and maybe this will change your mind on getting a box. So maybe you want to buy a box for the person you love, or
These will probably add some good value too. These will be
yeah.
search for Escanta is gonna be
our-
$1 million.
Argyl's Blood Feast? No, will not have any value. Sorry. You could already get a special premium foiling of that one many times over. So maybe not that one. So dodge that bullet. But all the other ones will probably have some sort of value attached to them to some degree.
These are the kind of promos that I love.
Yeah.
I'm like, in general, I don't like alternate art stuff, but this is so cool and like unique that I would love to get one of these. This is similar to almost like an invocation, kind of. Except it's not.
It's guaranteed
complete-
though, which is nice.
Yeah.
And you get this, and you get 4 other rare or / mythic rares from a standard legal set. So you get like 5 rares in this booster
You
pack.
just open one and get like 4 search for Escantas and like
Yeah, you
be
you
done
did
with
it.
Just be
You
like,
did it.
cool.
I mean, obviously, standard legal sets, there are some stinkers, some clunkers you can get, but I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
I pray for the person that's like gets the Argyl's Blood fast, and then like a bunch of crappy rares. But you'll be out there. You'll feel real bad about yourself.
At least Zendikar rotated, so
That's true. That's true. That's true. But yeah, so that's a cool thing that's going to be happening if you decide to go out on Thursday or Friday, the week of Thanksgiving, and make terrible financial decisions. But hey, it's fun. I've had some pretty good stories. I don't know if I stole a TV from someone that was going to buy it, but it was in a cart, and we just took the cart. So, but I got like a $200 TV.
There you go.
It was great. It was a nice TV. Well, it was a good TV for the price I paid, I should say. But you guys go out on Black Friday at all?
Only if my wife drags me. Otherwise, no.
Smart choice.
I'll do some stuff online,
yeah, just get stuff online.
but
Cyber Monday?
but I don't. And I really don't need any big electronics right now. So,
No.
like, I guess maybe if I found like, but here's what I always say: like, if I found that great computer deal, I'd do it. But then, like, I have to like wait in line, and no, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, and like most of the time, like any computer that you're going to get is not going to be worth it.
So no,
Just
I
build
probably
your own
won't
computer.
be going out.
That's where it's at.
I'll order some cheap Blu-rays from blankblank.com and
Not sponsoring this podcast.com. But yeah, cool. I know that Comic Town Segway has some pretty cool stuff typically on Black Friday. So if you are looking to buy some nerdy stuff, some comic books, some Magic cards, what have you, definitely check out their page, which is Comic Town Gaming Center on Facebook, or Comic Town on Facebook as well.
Yeah, they've really. I mean, obviously, we talk about them moving into the new location.
Yeah.
They've really even since then have continuously kind of expanded. They have a pretty big just board game section now.
Mm-hmm.
they've been doing board
great.
game like I think demos on the weekends, which is really cool.
Yeah, they've even started like trying to get people to get in the shop to play D&D as well, which is nice. But yeah, and if you're looking to play Magic on Saturday, November 18th, Comic Town will be running a sealed expo, and this is going to qualify you for their end of the year tournament, and it'll be Ixalan sealed, of course. And it'll be, again, queuing you for that 5K tournament in December. So if you want more information about that awesome tournament, check out Comic Town Gaming Center on Facebook. And you can find the event on there, say you're interested in it, and play some fun games of Ixalan Sealed.
Yeah, and that invitational final is coming up in less than a month.
Yeah.
Yep.
So-
I bet you guys are excited.
So yeah, Mike and I are qualified. Morgan,
I don't know.
don't think you're going to play in anything. Maybe
I don't have any time.
Yeah,
My November is completely booked.
that's unfortunate.
Everyone
but-
decided to move in November, which I'm fine with. It's not December or January or February when people are trying to move. It's November, which hopefully, fingers crossed, it's Ohio, so you never know, but should be reasonable.
Right.
But yeah,
I hope it is. I'm playing a softball tournament on Sunday.
Yeah, you're. But that's like is that like your end of the year thing?
That is the last thing.
Yeah, so you're fine.
It could possibly be snowing by then though. So
That's true.
Whatevs.
It's already technically snowed in Ohio,
is,
so
yeah. Oh,
I was in sunny Florida though. Didn't even know.
yeah, we saw it. It was sad.
But yeah, check out Comic Town Gaming Center for more information about everything that they do, Magic wise. So moving on to competitive. First, we're going to talk about Star City Games Regionals, which is, of course, hosted by Comic Town. And it had 270 players in it, so nearly a cap. I think 288 was capped
Yeah.
technically. So 18 off, which is, a fairly, substantial show. It was funny because, like, the weather was actually, like, fine. Normally, Comic Town just has like these tournaments are supposed to draw people in, and just terrible weather. And luckily, November we held out, and we had some pretty good weather for it. And it was modern, so obviously people wanted to be there. Modern or always brings the boys to the yard, and girls, I guess. I'll be both sides technically. It's, and we all were in attendance, and this is like the first time where like. A lot of our core group of friends decided to head out to the tournament hall and sling some cards. So I ended up having the worst record. I dropped a bit early to pick up my fourth loss in like the 7th round, I believe. But I played Eldrazi and Taxes, and it was like my first tournament with the deck besides like F&M, and I really enjoyed it. But I've got something wrong with my brain because I really like having to lean an arbiter out and then go quartering people and path the exiling their creatures. They just can't do anything. So I'm a bad person. I don't know. But here we are.
You like taxes. It's okay.
Thought not seer. I
mean,
still a really good magic card.
You're not that bad though. You're not playing Ensnaring Bridge in your deck. Like,
No,
if you're playing
they're
Ensnaring
monsters.
Bridge,
Those are
You don't want to be
monsters.
one of those people.
Yeah, Lantern Control. We see you, monsters.
If you play Blood Moon in your deck, you don't get to be upset about Snaring Bridge.
I played like the fairest Blood Moon deck possible.
Yeah, okay.
You're not like you're not playing Blood Moon on like turn one
there
or
are
two.
burn players who board into Ensnaring Bridge. Does that make them better?
Yeah. No.
Oh, well then, sorry.
But I like the deck. I think if you want to play something that's a little bit off the beaten path and like still want to be aggressive, but be able to do some interesting, fun things, some just gross things with like Tide Hollow Sculler and like Wasteland Strangler. That feels great. That feels great. I mean, it's like I'm going to take this card and also I'm going to kill your creature and really actually just completely get rid of this card. It's a great interaction. That's good. But you know what? He might be a criminal, but
Criminal.
He's doing some good in the
he
world.
was on my side this weekend.
He's like Dexter. Like he's just like killing the other criminals.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
And then he gets really, really bad the later in the turn.
That's true.
Yes. Yeah. When you get to like round,
You're not wrong.
Like round 5 and like beyond that, it's not good anymore.
Well,
So-
there's a reprieve when John Lithgow shows up, but
no, that was round 4.
oh, gotcha, my bad.
Round
Right.
5 is when it starts to get bad.
Right.
So, was that your experience, Morgan?
No, I didn't play against anything that was like too surprising. Really, played against like Burn a few times, and like I made definitely made some mistakes throughout the tournament just because I was new to the deck, but in the end, like it wasn't necessarily super difficult to play, but it definitely has a lot of interesting lines, especially when you can like play Flicker Wisp at instant speed, and then you have like Eldrazi Displacer, and just like the chains you can set up with what you're doing, and it's a fairly a fairly tricky deck to really optimize as far as that's concerned. And like when Storm's one of the best decks, like playing a deck that has access to Forthalias feels very, very nice, along with what am I along with just a lot of interactive pieces to have with like you if they're playing gifts, then you have Lean and Arbiter, which prevents searching, which is again very, very nice. But yeah, it's just kind of a fun deck to play. I mean, if you don't already have Aether Vials, like that's your pain point for the deck as far as like getting into it. But everything else is relatively inexpensive, especially if you have like all of your Eldrazi cards still.
Yeah, and if you're worried about buying into Aether Vials or whatever,
Yeah, those are kind of the
there's
Iconic Masters.
there's a bunch of different Aether Vial decks now that
That's
are
true,
like
too.
pretty competitive in the format now. So
Yeah.
you don't have to just play it in one deck.
Yeah, and like there are other versions of the Taxes deck that vary. Some of them do play Horizon Canopy, but I know that's going to be an Iconic Masters as well. So you have a couple of key reprints that are coming down the pipeline. I mean, the boxes for Iconic Masters are going for like 170, 190, somewhere around that. So, and if it's printed like they printed Modern Masters 2017, then you could see prices really go down for some of that stuff. That really, truthfully need it very, very badly. Like Horizon Canopy, it was the most expensive card in Modern. So
Yeah,
now I know it's like probably Cavern of Souls is getting back up there. So
like Liliana
Liliana, yeah,
creeping back up.
yeah,
Came down,
Tarmogoyf is always expensive though.
Yeah.
But anyway, you two gentlemen played the entire tournament. So who wants to start?
I finished higher.
Get wrecked.
Technically, Mike finished higher. I played Blue Red Delver. Back to playing Delver. I tried a bunch of different decks in Modern, and I didn't really like any of them. So I tried Black White Eldrazi, which was okay for a little while. Played a couple different versions of Jeskai. Played Blue White Control. Played Death Shadow, like Grixis Shadow, also like 4 and 5 color versions is just like I didn't really like any of them. Didn't really fully get comfortable with any of them. Wasn't really having a lot of success. So kind of went back to my roots and played Delver deck, even knowing that it was maybe a little lower on the power level, but it was a deck that I knew inside and out. I knew all the matchups. I knew exactly how I wanted to sideboard and all the matchups. So I was very comfortable with it and did decently well. Went 6-3. My goal going into the tournament was to top 32 so that I could qualify for the Star City Invitational. Fell just short of that. There were some 6-3s that finished in top 32, but unfortunately my breakers didn't get me there, so I finished in 46 or something like that. So a little disappointed with that. But I mean, the deck was fine. There was really only one match where I really got handled by Eldrazi, where like I just kind of got blown out. Lost a really super close match to Abzan, and then lost like pretty disappointing match against Affinity later in the tournament where, kind of got killed by Edge Champions and didn't really have an answer. So I think that's a pretty favorable matchup, but Edge Champion is the card that can kind of bail them out. So, going forward, I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing. I don't know if I'm going to try to still play this or try to find something else, but it's pretty cool. I can put my list out there if people are interested in it, but it was a fun tournament though. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, I also went 6-3 and I finished in 34th place. So,
hey, it's not the pain of 33rd.
I'd make a Riley Curran joke, but he top 8'd.
He did. Yeah, shout outs to Riley, top 8ing with 4-color mess, a 4-color company.
4-color mess.
A 4-color mess.
4-color garbage truck. No,
Yeah.
he did a good job. I played Grixis Shadow. I played a version that was based heavily off of Ben Friedman's most recent list. He wrote an article discussing a lot of people had gone back to Temur Battle Rage in the sideboards, and he was like, no, it's time to just like bring the pain and play Temur Battle Rage in the main. And that was actually great. I think you guys heard me talking all day about how there were a couple of games where just like Temur Battle Rage is the reason I won, and especially game ones where I just was able to like final Battle Rage. I played an extra opt where instead of the 4th Stubborn Denial in the main, which is one of the differences I played there, and like have between the ops and the Serum Visions, you could really set it up so that later in the game you could dig for. Or in Thought Scour too with your Snapcaster Mage, just dig for that Temur Battle Rage and just all of a sudden go from your opponent because in Grixis when you get in the late game a lot of times your opponents are just chump blocking and trying to get around it and Battle Rage just stops it. It's like, oh no more chump blocking.
Yeah, it also makes cards like Lingering Souls kind of laughable.
Yeah, and I literally some of the decks I played against Burn in 2 of the first 3 rounds and beat it both times, including an opponent who's like, first thing when I thought season was like, well, this is a pretty awkward matchup for you, and I'm like, it's not as bad as it was, and Battle Rage is one of the major reasons for that.
Right.
You could legitimately race and not get like chump blocked by a Goblin Guide to end up losing the game. So
yeah, I think like Battle Rage is a card that I guess like the narrower the field is, it's probably not as good.
Right.
Like if you're expecting to only play against like tier 1 modern decks, like it's probably not the best, but like in a tournament like regionals where like it's gonna be super wide open, you're gonna play against God knows what.
right.
Battle Rage is just a great card, like both as a surprise, but also to get around random things like elves. Or
Yeah,
like whatever,
exactly. And I think one of the cool things is that because Death Shadow itself has fallen off so much, I had a bunch of people when I cast Battle Rage against them, out of all the cards they were trying to think about what I had, did I have, what removal spell might have had? Did I have Stubborn Denial? Did I have this? Battle Rage has fallen off so much, and Grixis, Death Shadow has fallen off enough that they weren't like a couple of my opponents who I did that, they were just like Battle Rage, and I was like, yeah, and because you're playing like less red sources and less red cards in that list, there's just I think there's just not a lot of indicators of it. Like they're thinking like there's multiple times where like they were playing around like Kolaghan's Command or trying to like figure out if I had like Fatal Push or a Snapcaster, and it was like no, it's just Battle Rage, and you attacked in a way that you just died. I played a really really fun match against an Abzan opponent who like. Her and I just went back. Like our game 2 was this crazy game. I had a Liliana the Last Hope. Got got to use like every bit of activation for it. It was great. But, and she clogged the board, and I had to play really tight because I got down to 5, and that was after she cast her first Rhino, and Rhinos always come. They always come in packs. So, and it was just like Battle Rage was the way I could get through that. Like I was able to use a Battle Rage to get through the first major attack, and then the Liana to get back a Snapcaster with the Battle Rage in the yard to make sure it was lethal the next turn. So it was cool. I did shave a land to play that though, which is like one of the things that deck does while I was playing the extra opt. And I lost round 2 in the Grixis Mirror, and games 1 and 3 I struggled to find a second land, and it was one of those things where it can happen when you're just shaving lands in a deck that's already really, really light.
Did you play 18?
I played 18, so
As did I.
But I just it didn't. That was the only match during the day that I felt it. But like if you're gonna play a deck like that, like giving up a round to your mana base is probably something that will happen in a longer tournament. So
It's a crash of rhinos.
I understand. That's fair.
Yeah,
That's a card from Mirage too.
So
So
8/6 or something.
yeah, it's like an
I don't know,
8 something
that's so
trample.
weird.
But
Yeah, I also played an 18 land deck with like 4 Serum Visions, 4 Opt. And
yeah,
like,
see, I had Thought Scours instead of only had 1 opt and more Thought Scours, which isn't really real selection. So
yeah. But like, yeah, there definitely were a couple of games throughout the day where I lost because like I would have like 2 lands in my opener and then never hit another land, which
Sure.
it's good for a little while, but like eventually I want to start getting value out of my Snapcaster mages,
Right.
Things like that, where it's like you really want to hit that third land to really get the optimal.
Yeah, absolutely. And the one thing that
usefulness.
ended up being an issue for me in any of the games that I was like low on lands is that because of the way I use my life total, I would take too much damage to be able to fetch appropriately for my lands to cast spells. So it's a thing that happens. I lost when I was X-1 going into round 7, and I lost against Affinity in a pretty frustrating match where like he had to have the second red source and double Gav Blast, and that was the only way I died, and that's exactly what happened. So he drew the red source and double blasted me, and it was sad. And then I played a match against the Amulet Titan. And it was the only day. It was only Death Shadow does this sometimes where it's just like I just didn't draw anything relevant. It was just like okay, I drew like I had 3 fetches in play that were uncracked because I had nothing left in my deck to get for them at one point. I was like, all right, we're doing it. So it was frustrating, but I was hoping to still top 32 and still cash with 6 and 3. But again, we had a huge amount of players, so it was a little tough. But I really enjoyed the deck. I still really enjoyed Death Shadow. It felt better than it has in a while. Playing against the field, just because not everyone and their brother is looking for it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it is. It now feels like just another deck in Modern as opposed to the deck. So
that might be regional though, like just because, like for some reason in Columbus nobody plays Death Shadow.
this is true.
And
I think if you look at
know.
the numbers too, it's still a popular deck, but it isn't
Yeah.
what it was doing a couple months ago.
Right. It's not you're not seeing half of the top 8
Right.
Death Shadow decks, but
And part of that, like we saw burn everywhere. You know what I mean? Like they. Granted, I know it's funny. I beat my opponent who said that, but like at the same time, like it is one of those matches where you're not super excited, like when your opponent's opening up with bolts in hand. So, especially since there just are so few of them. Like Dave opted to play bolts, and he might have been one of the only non-Jeskai, non-burn players to be playing them. In the room.
I played against another Death Shadow player that had lightning bolts in their deck this tournament.
What year is it?
And they said that that they were expecting them to be good. So because we already talked about how lightning bolt could have had a pretty good weekend.
Yeah, I mean,
I expected there to be a lot of human decks.
So
And that makes sense.
a lot of people kind of read the tea leaves on that one, I think.
Yeah, I mean there were in the Columbus regionals there were 2 of the 5-color humans decks that.
No, one of them's Collected Company.
Oh really?
I thought that they were, but I'm going to check.
Maybe they might still be 5-color. I'll look.
I think they're still 5-color.
They have no, they don't have any red spells. No.
Okay.
Oh, whatever. Humans tribal.
But the company deck is distinctly different. Like in general, it operates differently than
Bolt's still good against both of them.
that. This is true.
Which was the point. But yeah, I expected that to. I would expect a lot of people to pick it up just because it was like kind of the fresh new deck and new kid on the block.
Well, like it just did well.
Oh yeah,
And,
yeah, it did
and
well.
Collins Mullins won his regional.
He won his regional with it. Yeah, with his update.
I'm sorry.
Dismembers
That
and-
shouldn't become a reoccurring joke because you've done very well, but it's gonna be. So
Yeah.
sorry, bud.
Yeah, I didn't play against humans. I didn't play against Death Shadow at all. Didn't play against Jeskai, which are like all these like.
So my first 4
Dexy.
rounds were burn, Death Shadow, burn, Death Shadow. So I was like, all right, indicative of the formats. So, but it evened out. Like I ended up playing against Abzan and said Amulet Titan and Ponza and Affinity. So
Yeah, the only deck I played twice was Affinity, and I was 1-1
Yeah.
against it. Didn't play against Storm. at
yeah, that
all,
was
which is
surprising too. I
weird.
didn't see a lot of Storm. Like I
I
tried.
think that's another Columbus thing. Like they just for whatever reason, there are a
I
lot
did
of
play
Storm.
against I did play against Storm,
Yeah.
and that was definitely one of my more like fun matchups. Surprisingly,
Why,
knowing
you
both-
resolve Thalia. You're
yeah,
like,
that was
this is cool. Love
that,
it.
That did happen. That was fun. But no, like Storm is a deck that like does make you as the opponent of it have to make choices that are fairly difficult. Like you have to make gifts files, and Mike knows that I hate making gifts files
I mean,
so bad.
if they resolve gifts, you're probably dead.
I wasn't though.
But you weren't.
Well, I was not dead.
Yeah.
I got to live through gifts, so that was pretty good. My
yeah.
opponent may have just been like trying to like string something together, but like I definitely am more on your side, Dave. Like yes, typically if like your storm opponent is resolving gifts, you were usually dead. But it was interesting because like he was resolving gifts, but I could still like influence that like decision pretty much.
Yeah, I was gonna say like this version of Storm is probably one of the like easiest gifts deck, both to play with and against.
Yeah.
Like I've played Gifts and Given before, and like in my opinion, it's one of the most difficult Magic cards to play with and against.
I mean, if
And
you're
this
Blue
one's,
Eyed
like,
Tron,
fairly-
you just like
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it every time I cast it. Didn't really feel that difficult.
you're like Iona.
I will
I'm
say,
very alright.
unless you get back into a corner and you just cheat with it. I only did it once and didn't even think about it. That was a long time ago, but I definitely like just got paths. I just like played it like intuition, and then afterwards we were like, "That's not how that card works," and I was like, "Nope, all right, cool." So yeah, I only made that mistake one time. I felt real bad afterwards.
Yeah,
Didn't concede though, so
weird.
I guess I'm probably scum.
You're scum. You're the
So-
worst
Scumbag
person
Mike.
on the
Yeah.
universe right now. Oh well.
No, but I mean like the Storm deck is generally just gonna get some rituals and pass some flames, or like maybe a grape shot thrown in.
Yeah, that was his issue. Like he did have to burn an early grape shot to kill Athalia, which is what he had to do. It put him at a really weird spot, and then like so he did that, but like he wasn't going to be able to like make enough mana to really get anything going, pretty much. So it was I mean it was definitely like. I got to do the whole the storm player is counting, this is not good. But
When they take the dice out, you're like, oh no.
yeah, no, he definitely he had the whole presentation. He had his storm counter and his mana counter, and like he was very like clear about what he was doing and everything like that, all his actions. So like he definitely been playing the deck, but I definitely think that I have a fairly good matchup against that. You know, provided I draw the right cards, but I do have a fair amount of them in my actual in the Eldrazi taxes as far as that goes. So. Blood Moon can be a bit rough, for sure. I know that they can play that out of the sideboard, so like that's something you have to watch out for. But it was fun. It was a good time.
So I don't think we're gonna go over like all the results, but
No,
just want to talk about our own experience.
We had fun. It said like congrats to Jeff Ivey for winning with
For winning with Burn, he
So.
defeated Eric Shoopman.
Shoot.
Playing Bant Company, and again, shout out to Riley playing Four Color Company and getting 8th place and top 8ing in general. But I you know what, I think that there is a lot of diversity, and we can see like across all of the regionals that did happen, like there's definitely a lot of decks that you can play and have a good time with and be successful with. So modern still people's format, you can still kind of do whatever you want. Like obviously humans is kind of the new hotness, but it's definitely not the best deck or anything like that. You can kind of still do what you want to do and still have success. So
yeah, I think humans definitely gains a lot from people not really knowing how to play against it yet.
yeah.
Like anytime there's a new deck that kind of comes along, it's a little bit of an adjustment period. I think we had that with Death Shadow when that kind of burst on the scene in its current iteration. You know what I mean? Like both as like the Jund version that won the GP, and then the Grixis version that won another GP.
Yeah.
but I think the format's kind of adjusted to it, and like Mike was saying, it's kind of leveled off a little bit as far as its popularity. So I think you'll see that with humans as well. I think you'll see it have good results, and it's put up results online as well. But people are still kind of learning how to play against it and learning what is good against it.
Yeah,
So
for sure. So obviously regionals was something that was big for us and you locally. But there was something that was happening. Well, I mean, this would be local if you're, in good old Albuquerque,
the Southwest,
the Southwest. But there was, of course, the Pro Tour, Pro Tour Ixalan, Pro Tour late to the party this time around. Since this wasn't the premier standard tournament, that was Worlds this go, and so we've sort of had this standard for quite some time, and I wasn't necessarily expecting too much from it, and we'll talk a little bit about what kind of happened with the tournament. So we do want to give a shout out at the top here to Seth Manfield winning with a deck we saw pretty much the first week of the format. It's 70 of the 75 cards that one of the Jessup brothers won with.
Yeah, Andrew Jessup got it right apparently.
Yeah,
week 1
playing Sultai Energy.
Yeah, and Hostage Taker. We were talking about how great Hostage Taker was, and then it kind of fell off the map after that.
A little bit.
Then we felt dumb, and then it's like, oh wait, no, just kidding, it's back.
He defeated Pascal Maynard in the finals. Pascal was playing blue-white Godfarer's Gift. Now, Mike, I know that you are a huge fan of Godfarer's Gift to some degree. And it was kind of nice because I know that the Godfarer's Gifts were like sort of a flash in the pan like earlier on in the format, and they kind of faded away because of like Team Energy and Ramen Red being still pretty prominent popular decks. But we kind of still see that is obviously a very powerful card, a very powerful artifact that can do a lot of gross things.
Yeah, the card, like, obviously top 8ing it with this version of the list was important, but I think if you look through the deck list, while obviously other archetypes were more popular, like Godfarer's Gift really did represent itself well at the Pro Tour and held its own in a couple different versions. Like, you just had the more streamlined, like, creature-based version that are running Gate to the Afterlife, but the one that Pascal Maynard played was, they were calling it a combo deck. Like, you were trying to...
It was, quote-unquote all in.
Yeah, you were trying to put a Godfarer's Gift in the graveyard to cast Refurbish by turn 4. So you're playing Chart of Course, you're playing Strategic Planning, you're playing Champion of Wits to do all these things. You all right there, bud?
My mic just kind of fell down. Yeah, it happens.
Hey, I'm just fine.
You dropped the mic?
Yeah.
But I think it was pretty cool, and I definitely think that if you looked, especially around the multiple teamer lists, there were a bunch of them that just like were shaving a braid almost altogether.
Yeah,
that was seemed kind of crazy to me as like someone who played. I played. My mic's not going to stay up. This is unfortunate. Let's hold it. I played in nationals. I played Mono Red, and I shaved braids, and like that felt like fairly poor. I wish that I had like so many more braids. I wish my main deck was just a little bit different in general, but a braid was something that I was like, man, I really wish I had more of this. Not necessarily for like the artifact interaction, but just like sometimes I really needed a way to like clear a creature and be able to win, and just didn't have access to that in the build that I took to nationals. So obviously Teamer's a little bit different. They have a little bit more versatility in their removal spells and stuff like that with Hardest Lightning and such, but man, a braid's still really good.
Yeah, that's a point that they kept bringing up in the coverage about how just overall just the format had kind of shifted away from a braids because there was less, Godfarer's Gift, there was less Mardu vehicles and things like that. That you really
both of those decks top aided.
Yeah,
right.
And they both kind of benefited from that. I think both Pascal Maynard and Samuel Eilenfeld both kind of realized, hey, there's kind of a blind spot in the format here. We can exploit this by playing these powerful artifacts.
I think even if you look at one of the, because unless I'm crazy, right? Pascal Maynard had to play you have to play Christian Hauck? Was it who it was?
He's playing the Teamer Energy in the top 8.
Yeah. Which Teamer Energy pilot did he play?
He played against...
Or did you play against Glukowski?
He played against Piotr Glukowski.
Yeah. So, like, the crazy thing about that is if you look at his list, he played 2 Sky Sovereigns in the main, of his Teamer Energy list and no Glory Bringers, and then still had 3 Abrades. So he was playing a Teamer list that was trying to, 1, go bigger than Glory Bringer, and 2, exploit the lack of Abrades, and then played more Abrades himself. And Maynard still beat him.
Yeah, pretty convincingly.
Yeah, pretty. Yeah, it was. So I think it's important to note that, like, when you look at this, especially this combo version of it, that, like, you know, obviously you still have to have the Abrade, and Abrade may not be enough to make this deck not a thing. So I don't know where it goes going forward. I will say, if you watch commentary, some of the things the commentators said were absolutely correct, that if you don't draw the combo in Maynard's version, it's a really bad deck. It's a deck that's just trying to chump block its way to getting there. And if you watch a number of the games against Manfield, if Seth had one of his sideboard cards, you saw a deck that was sort of sputtering pretty consistently. Just turning its wheels, but couldn't get ahead on board in any fashion.
Yeah, I think, like, he also showed, though, there were a fair number of games where he wasn't just, casting Repurpose on turn 4.
No, he was casting Angel of Invention instead.
Right, but he was able to just, like, hard cast 5 drops and, like, hard cast God Pharaoh's Gift and then eventually win. Like, it's not something that you absolutely have to, turn 4 or you lose. It's just the deck's really good at just gumming up the board and buying time.
Well, I'm saying, like, literally, though, in sideboarded games where an opponent actually has interaction, like, both plans look bad.
Like,
plans look bad.
Abrade by itself is not going to beat the deck, but if it's an Abrade with a clock, like, if you're clocking and then they need the God Pharaoh's Gift on turn 4, to reanimate an angel, and then you're able to disrupt that, then you're gonna do.
And obviously it's just the matchup against Seth Manfield, but, like, if you look at that, once we got into border games where he had Duress, Death Gorge Scavenger was unbelievable against that deck.
Yeah,
Hostage Taker was great against it because the removal was so bad. So, like, I like Maynard's version. I do. I know there's a lot of people who look at a deck like that and go, "Well, I'm never sleeving up a Sacred Cat ever," and let it be a 4/4 once before you poo-poo it.
It does exactly what you want. All you want to do is buy time.
Yeah, you want to do is block a couple times.
Like, you just jump block, and then you bomb it, you jump block again, or you discard it to chart the course or something like that, and then you bring it back. Yeah, it's a great role player in the deck.
Sure. So I really like these decks. I think, like, his list surprised me a little bit just because it's all in, but it really is, like, it's all in on Angel of Invention as well. But I think God Pharaoh's Gift's in a good place. I wouldn't be surprised to keep seeing it do well. And it's also the kind of card that, like, we have Rivals coming out in a couple months now, and when you already see it do this well in this all-in combo version, it doesn't take that crazy of a card to make God Pharaoh's Gift even better. You know what I mean? Like, where they could print. So Angel of Invention is a card that didn't see pretty much any play despite being pretty powerful until you could make it a 6/6 flyer with haste. So
yeah. Pascal Maynard's deck was definitely the one that jumped out at me as, like, the deck that I was most excited about for Standard. And, like, I haven't played Standard in this current iteration yet. Have not played a game yet in this current format. However, I do need to find a Standard deck for the Comic Town Final coming up in a month here. So I was very interested to see what happened in this Pro Tour. And, that deck was like, man, this deck is sweet.
It's also pretty cheap. Like,
fairly cheap, yeah.
It's just it's about $150 according to
the Angel of Inventions are a little pricey now, but it's a mythic, so it's
exactly.
I think, like, the real test is going to be this weekend. We have 3 Standard GPs, and now that it's more of a known quantity, and obviously it did pretty well at the Pro Tour, I think we'll see kind of the format, strike back, I guess, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I worry for the deck. I really do, just because Teamer or 4-color Energy, they get access to so many. I mean, again, you had Appetite for the Unnatural, Death Gorge Scavenger, Duress, Negate. Like, it is tough for. I mean, because if you go look at Game 5 and you see, like, that despite struggling a little bit, like, Maynard, like, draws, like, his Fumigate, his sideboard card, and just gets completely destroyed by Nick Manfield drawing a Duress, like, in response to that. So, and that's like a small corner case there. But, like, if you look at those things, like, Fumigate would have been good there, but that's, like, one sideboard that was really good, sort of a sideboard card that was really good for him, whereas, like, every sideboard card was just great for Manfield.
To be fair, in that game, I think the real MVP was the Glint Sleeve Siphoner that was just completely unchecked.
Yeah, but, like, from White can't do anything
from
about
turn
it.
3 to the whole end of the game, he was drawing 2 cards a turn.
Right.
And
They're
know,
all great. They're all
Everybody's
great
seen like
cards.
what happens when like you don't kill Bob.
Right.
Like it's it's going to be not.
But like
close.
Blue White, like his robust answer to those cards was Fairgrounds Warden. You know what I mean? So again, you have to do what you have to do. But I worry when all of the Teamer decks and 4-color decks can play pretty much every good sideboard card against that deck. Like I feel like if all the Teamer players decide that they don't want to lose the God Pharaoh's Gift, they can try. They can pretty successfully not lose the God Pharaoh's Gift.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. So I'm gonna wait and see before buying into the deck. I'm gonna wait and see what happens, and then we'll go.
It's probably
from there.
good anyways. Give it a little bit of time to see if the Angels go back down because I do think they did spike a little bit. So.
Yeah, I already have all the cards for like Teamer Energy if I want to play that, but I don't know if I want to play that.
Shout out to Angel Sanctions. I have a bunch of those for no reason. Like that was just like that was like my mythic du jour to open from Amonkhet. I have like 3 or 4 of them, and
there
I
you
just
go.
like they could just be $1 million, please, please.
Probably not, but
No, they're-
yeah,
I
that's
mean,
okay. Hey,
they're-
if they're seeing play, they'll be still a couple bucks.
Yeah, not high enough. They're very expensive on Magic Online, so I'm hoping that trend translates over to paper. They're like if for 3 of them, it's like 15 tickets. So if you could just become $15 in real life,
Yeah.
that would be fantastic.
Going back to Seth Manfield, I enjoy seeing Seth win because you can tell that he really puts a lot into the game, and like he's somebody who kind of like wears his heart in his sleeve, and like you could tell that like it means a lot to him to win. Like we saw him be very emotional after he won Worlds a couple of years ago, and he felt like he was close to getting to that point here, but he kept it together. But
But I mean,
he was a good guy. At the end of the finals was really funny because he had a blossoming defense for lethal, and he attacked, and he kind of showed the blossoming defense, and then he kind of like was thinking for a minute, like just double checking the math or whatever, and Pascal Maynard just kind of like got up out of his seat and went and like gave him a hug because he's like, "No, you win. It's okay, man. You got it." Like,
you don't have to do this anymore.
Like, yeah. It like Seth was just like, I don't even know what I was thinking about. I just, I think we'd all like to be in that position.
Yeah,
maybe
no
it's
joke.
just like, hey, I'm about to win the Pro Tour, and it's like, I gotta like triple check the math here. Don't want to screw this up.
That's like using your lifeline for Who Wants to Be a Millionaire to just like call somebody like, "Hey, I'm about to win $1 million." I remember watching that clip for that person, so it's pretty funny. But yeah, it's pretty cool, and like this is pretty much a lot of people are saying like this definitely cements him as being like a Hall of Fame contender.
I would say so.
yeah,
World
for sure.
champion, 4 Pro Tour top 8s, and a win. Like
Yeah. Pro Tour champion, world champion. Yeah.
And
Like,
you look about like people talk about like eras of dominance, right? Like you look at the last 3-4 years. I mean, Seth Manfield has been dominant.
Yeah, he's been on the map consistently year after year.
It's funny too because he's been around for a long time, but it's fairly recently that he's had Pro Tour success. Like
Yeah.
he's won I think 3 GPs and has I don't know how many top 8s, but I'm sure a bunch. And it seems like all of his top 8s have come like in the last like 3 years.
Yeah.
like 2-3 years.
So-
and he's always like there.
Yeah.
And he's on a great team. I think Genesis, they had a pretty good showing. And
Yeah, they
constructed-
did. I mean, like you can even see like Brad Nelson had 8 wins with Sultai Energy.
Yeah.
BBD had 8 wins with Teamer Energy, who's who's a newly minted member of Genesis, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So yeah, they definitely their teaming had kind of shown through with their success and standard.
And then just real quickly on the team, so Seth's win puts Team Genesis in the driver's seat for the team series, which started anew here.
Yeah,
So
it's the first Pro Tour. So
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know,
I mean,
I mean, you have to
obviously, like the Pro Tour win is probably going to
Yeah.
give you a huge advantage, but yeah, but yeah, I mean that's team. Obviously, they were right there last year, finished runner up,
right.
and look, we're probably going to make a deep run again. There are a lot of good storylines from the Pro Tour. I think day 1 going into day 2, we had Yam Wing Chun, famously the player who kind of punted
walking by
against-
on Twitter, if
Yeah.
you're familiar with that Twitter handle, but they have punted against PV.
Yeah, in the last Pro Tour with the Hazoret, and we had 2 cards in hand and he couldn't attack. So I think like a lot of people felt for him, and he kind of had a good attitude about it. Like, I can't believe I did that, but I'm going to come back stronger. And
I mean,
he
you don't have
apparently did.
a Twitter handle of walking by without being able to like have that talk with yourself.
Yeah. he started this tournament. He was undefeated on day one and went all the way to 10-0, and it looked like he was going to make another top 8, and then the wheels came off. Apparently, he did not top 8. I was really rooting for him though. I was really rooting for, and PV was actually doing really well for a while too. He was kind of up in the top of the standings too. I was just like, could we have a rematch on the top 8? That would be unbelievable. Wasn't to be. Neither of them top 8'd, but he made a pretty good run. It would have been awesome to see him come back and win this Pro Tour after what happened to him in the last one. But I don't think he's going away. He's clearly pretty good.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. He's pretty good. Yeah, How about that?
Don't have much to argue with that. So.
Yeah, and I think I heard this. I think he's the captain of the Hong Kong national team for the World Magic Cup.
Nice.
Li Shitian stepped down, so he actually was the point leader, but he can't go to the World Magic Cup. So Wing Chun will be representing for his country. So that's cool. So we'll see him again fairly shortly. Mike Segrist finishing the top seed. He's on Team Channel Fireball, which is kind of they reshuffle the teams around, and he's the only one not in the Hall of Fame on his team. So,
he's working for it. He's trying.
Yeah. This is third top 8, I believe.
Yes,
and again in a fairly short period of time.
Yeah, really.
So he was playing 4-color energy, splashing black for the Scarab God and Vraska, which was something pretty new that we hadn't really seen prior to this Pro Tour.
I'm glad he did well. I will say they also went back to playing a lot of Chandras to help cast some of these, again, like casting Vraska. But, man, I feel like Vraska was a weird card all weekend. We talked a little bit about it before the cast, but there were some matches where they had it on where somebody resolved Vraska. It did exactly what it was supposed to do, and it just crushed the board. But there are also a lot of games where it was just weird to see Vraska in a hand, and she just was not nearly impactful enough. So it felt like that card was a bit risky, but obviously they enjoyed it. They wanted to play it.
I mean, we saw a ton of energy decks. I think it was almost 50%. Energy as a whole was about
4-color
50%.
Teamer, Sultai.
Yeah.
With Cub, without Cub.
So we'll just say Attune with Ether decks.
Sure.
Right? If you lump all those together, it was nearly 50% of the field. So it makes sense to play something like Vraska, which is going to be a card that can go over the top.
Sure.
And I don't know, it was okay. It seemed like if you're in a position where you can play Vraska in plus and not have her be immediately threatened, then you're probably going to win the game.
But
if you have to minus
it, I feel like you're already winning the game at that point.
Yeah. So I'm not sure. I guess we'll see going forward if that's still a route that people want to go, or I think at Worlds you saw kind of people go from 4-color was kind of the more popular version,
sure.
and then people kind of scaled it back. We saw the PGO guys play just straight Teamer,
right?
And I think you might see that now. That's Pro Tour's over with. You might see it scale back to just Teamer to just kind of have just a more consistent, solid deck.
I will say a deck that had a really, really disappointing showing was Tokens. That was getting a lot of hype before this. And if you go watch round 1, I will say if there's a matchup where Vraska was really good, oh my gosh, was it against Tokens?
Yeah,
every one of their permanents was just a feast for Vraska. So, but I will say
that's cute.
Delicious. Here's a treasure. But I will say I saw a lot of people keep trying to compare Vraska to Elspeth Sun's Champion, right? This card that could tick down and affect the board and tick up and stabilize whatever. It's not. I cast many Elspeths. Let me tell you a tale of all these Elspeths that I've cast. Okay, this card is not that. So I don't. When you say you're going over the top of other decks, but she still looks bad against a lot of cards. She looked. I don't know. The one thing they did talk about was this weird, and a couple of the pros talked about this in the little video segments they had. But it was talking about this weird balance back and forth between like playing Glorybringers and not playing Glorybringers, and like
Well, yeah, like if you're gonna play like Scarab Gods and
Sure.
and Vraskas, like you got to cut something. It's
Right.
probably gonna come from the top end.
But then, like, when you look at people who scaled this, it's just weird to see it try and read the room because the people that decided to scale back and play regular teamer, you had a bunch of good lists they went back to 4 Glory Bringers. So when you look at something like Vraska, well, Vraska comes down to kill something, and you're like, okay, this is how I'm going over the top. And then the next turn, they Glory Bringer, you kill a guy, and they killed your Planeswalker. Like, your over the top plan, like,
Didn't work.
So, it's or people were playing a lot of Sky Sovereigns. You know what I mean? Like that's an awkward play pattern. Like if they already have the Sky Sovereign in play, then you feel pretty good. But if you play your Vraska and then they Sky Sovereign and like you're like play Vraska, tick down, kill your guy, go, and they're like cool Sky Sovereign, kill your Vraska, and like now I have this in play. Like the play patterns for Vraska just doesn't make it feel as strong as a card that I would want to play going over the top should.
yeah, I think we'll definitely see less Vraskas going forward.
That makes sense.
But
too.
Again, that was a card that I didn't really expect to see.
Sure,
coming into
yeah,
this Pro Tour,
absolutely.
and like a lot of teams, it wasn't just Channel Fireball. I mean, there were other teams that also had it, and
There's a lot of tokens lists that had it. The 4-color tokens
Yeah.
list had it.
yeah,
So
And that's where you would expect to see it.
it's true. Well, we had Abzan tokens before that was doing that, and they decided to play blue too. So like, just get it all in there.
Yeah, everything.
last one from the top eight I already mentioned, but Samuel Eilenfeld, his first Pro Tour, he
It was
got
really
in.
funny when they were doing like the
announcement?
That was funny. I was talking about what I was talking about, like pro points and like cash one
Yeah.
for career.
Yeah,
None.
Zero, like $0 lifetime. Yeah, is playing in his first Pro Tour. Gets in as the 8th seed on tie breaks, and then with the top 8 announcements are always great, just for those last couple of people that kind of maybe didn't expect to get
Yeah,
in,
absolutely.
and he just went crazy, and it was great. I didn't get to see his. I guess he had a win in against Reed Duke. I didn't get to see this match, but I mean they were talking about it on the commentary, and they were saying about how he appeared to be like very nervous, and I mean I don't know how I would be like winning and playing against Reed Duke, and I mean I played against Reed Duke before, but not with those kind of stakes on the line. You know what I mean?
Yep. I play against him too. I got
yeah.
a lot of Curse of Scarabs cast against me.
But yeah, I mean he was able to pull it off and got into the top 8 and he pulled off what I would say is one of the maybe the biggest upsets that I've ever seen on the Pro Tour, and certainly on the Pro Tour top 8. I mean he was able to beat Mike Segris in the quarterfinals, and Team Channel Fireball, they tested the matchup. They kind of liked their spot that they were in. The 4-color energy against Mardu vehicles, and he was able to kind of steal game 1. Mike Segris had some mana problems in game 1. He was able to steal that, and game 5 was just this unbelievable back and forth. And unfortunately for Segris, he made an error in. He needed to. Was it he needed to kill?
He had a couple ways.
Or he needed to use this activate a Scarab God in response to like an energy trigger or something.
Yeah, there were a couple things. There were a couple ways. Like if you go back and look at that last turn, there's a couple ways he could have played that turn, and then like he opted to play a Vraska to get rid of one of the vehicles and was still able to have a Magma Spray up. But then in doing so, he seemed to forget that his Longtoes Cub could attack that turn.
Yeah,
and he just left a lethal attack on the board. But there were a couple ways he could have played the turnout. Like his opponent had a Scrappy Scrounger in the graveyard, so like there's some things you obviously made decisions with the Scarab got a little more awkward, but there are some things he could have done with that to try and like either get rid of a blocker or do. It was just like, there was a lot of decisions.
It was a very complex board, so it's not like it's not like it was just a simple punt.
No, but he even said he forgot like his Cub could attack, and like he had so many things going on. That's tough. But like that would be, go back and look at that board that last turn and just like woof.
But I mean, somebody of Mike's caliber, who's been a player of the year and playing his third top 8, like it's not really what you expected to happen. Like
Sure.
I certainly, if one player was going to misplay to like lose the match, I did certainly not expect it to be Mike Segris.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But I think like I don't know. I was pretty happy for Samuel. I mean, I think he's kind of like the everyman. I think we could all kind of relate, I guess, to that. Maybe think back to maybe the first time you ever did well in a big tournament and like how that felt, and I think it was awesome. Like he was very excitable and had like a great attitude about it. So it's good to see him. Hopefully we'll see him going forward, and obviously he's probably queued for all the rest of the Pro Tours now, so he'll probably be back. But yeah, it was cool. It made for some drama in the top 8 for sure.
So do we want to? So there wasn't. Depending on how you look at this, you're either a Dave or a Morgan. Either you believe there was a fair amount of diversity, or you think there was no diversity. Morgan's the one who doesn't think there's diversity. He hates everything.
I don't hate everything. But I mean, like, it depends on how you want to determine diversity. If you are okay with the fact that energy is like what you should probably be doing in the format, and you don't care, and you care about the subtle differences between each of the energy decks, then yes, you can go ahead and say that this was diverse. But I don't like your core, like what you're doing is still the same. Like when you look at the top 10 cards of like the Pro Tour, it's it's all energy cards.
Morgan, did you not expect energy to be like the number one?
No, I did. But that's why I'm also arguing that this isn't diverse.
I think it's fair to assess it in both ways, though. The decks are diverse; they do different things. They really do. But I also think it's fair to criticize. Like again, we still have a holdover from a block that has multiple cards banned in it. When you look at Aether Hub and Attune with the Aether, it is hard to convince anybody that that's not what you should just be doing, because your mana base is pretty much close to perfect.
Yeah.
And the synergy that is given from that is there. So I still think the decks were diverse. I don't think you could argue they're not. They play different cards. They win by different means. But you could definitely say that like the mechanic is still hurting like overall diversity. It is shutting other cards out of the format. So I could see that very much both ways.
I mean, most of these, I just have to say that most of these decks are mid-range decks that rely on the energy
standard.
mechanic.
That's literally standard. Like they're mid-range decks that have creatures attack each other. So
sure, maybe that's just a larger argument than about standard, and how standard in itself is becoming less and less diverse and more homogenous. So
all I'm going to say is this. I'm actually not arguing that it was like super diverse, because I mean, if you look at just the decks that had 6+ wins, right? There's just a sea of Teamer energy, 4-color energy.
It's a terrible ocean.
It's not great.
A bunch of drowning cats.
There are some that stick out. You have Mono White Vampires,
Called it
by Wilson Hunter. That's cool. You have White Blue Cycling with Drake Havens. Play like Boussard Elliott.
I just looked up a version of this deck too. There's a 5.0 list on Moto from a couple weeks ago. It's like 50 tickets to build. I'm literally going to build it tonight.
Yeah. A couple different Mardu Vehicles decks, which I mean, I don't think anybody really thought that would do well. There's a mono black aggro list in there. I think
Grixis controlled by the too. Like,
yeah.
I want to say shout out to Shaheen Sarani, because he was all about like how he the 11-4. He did it his way. Felt pretty good about it.
So yeah, I mean there are a couple little nuggets in there.
Yeah, and like that's every Pro Tour.
Those dank standard nugs.
I feel like every Pro Tour has like decks that are weird and pop out. But again, like I understand that you can definitely argue that the energy decks are different on certain levels, and they do things differently than each other. Yes, but in the end, they still are relying on a very central core. That's all based out of the again a very parasitic sort of mechanic.
Yeah,
and it's just like I mean you're just going to see a lot of the same cards over and over again.
Listen,
and they may finish the game differently, but they all have the same like middle.
Listen,
it feels like
I'm not arguing that like energy is not overpowered or like too good, whatever. Like I do think like it obviously has shown to be the most powerful thing you can do, but it's not the only thing you can do.
It's never the only thing you can do. No. But if you want to win the tournament, it's probably the thing you should be doing.
That I will definitely agree with.
Sure.
So again, like I don't know, like there's enough cool things to see here that you have to hope, but I think unfortunately, for standard, I said the block that has caused the most problems in, honestly, when you look at like standard as a whole, as an entity, like you have major spike points of when cards cause problems. If you look at them, even after bannings, for as long as those blocks remain in standard, you have problems in standard. So standard's getting better. It'll get more and more healthy the more sets we have. Remember, this is the smallest amount of sets we can have in standard compared to the largest we've ever had in standard. So yes, Energy's doing this. Hopefully, as we see rivals, as we move into Dominaria, we will get away from that, and then we'll look at an actual rotation, and then standard should be healthy again. It is frustrating that Energy is this dominant, but I do think, like, as a standard player, as a person who enjoys nuance and deck building,
Yeah.
I think you have to appreciate all the different choices these people are making in their deck lists, and like I think by being overtly negative about it. Hey, deal with it. You are discrediting a lot of good deck building. Like, you really are.
I think like it has never been more apparent the difference between standard and modern. If you look at the current formats, like modern is just like play whatever you want, hope you get good matchups. That's pretty much it. Standard is much more about, hey, you know what, we're gonna play 2 extra Abrades main deck because we expect to see more like Godfarrow's Gift or whatever.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
good,
it's like this little
good
tweaks.
card choices, good sideboard choices are going to shine in this format. They really are.
Yeah.
So, sorry, bud.
I mean, it's fine. I mean, people all want to be engaged at different levels, and if you want to be that nuanced, then that's fine. But a lot of people aren't going to be interested in that nuance.
But I think if you're not interested in nuance, there's enough other decks here that I think you'll be okay. You can play a control deck. There were multiple control decks that are pretty well. You had
Guillaume Matignon
you
did
had
great. He top aided with
blue black, Grixis, blue white, and Jeskai all doing things. Plus, if you really want to, that red white deck was still floating around. Patrick Chapin was playing the red white version. If you want to play a combo deck, there's still a couple other forms of combo that didn't even show up here, but you'd still have Godfarrow's Gift with Pascal Maynard. He just did this. If you want to play the weird Sam Black deck, and I say that even though he didn't play it, but you have tokens. And if you want to play an aggressive deck, there is still Ramunap Red.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about Ramunap Red, which is everywhere.
It was still available to play if you want to play that. So every archetype is firmly entrenched here. You can see it. You can play it if you want to. And while we do probably have a definitive best archetype, there's enough, again, nuance in the archetype that they start becoming, the inbred. You start seeing, look, like the Ramunap Red players were super happy, I'm sure, every time their opponent had a Vraska in hand. They're like, yeah, cool, Vraska, whatever. You know what I mean? So I don't know, the best times we've seen standard are the ones where your deck building decisions the decisions are so important. They have such an impact on how you're going to do.
And this is why I'm not good at standard anymore, because I don't have the time to actually like keep up with like I don't play enough standard to be, I guess, in tune with all these little nuances.
Sure.
And like know exactly. I can look at like results, but I don't feel comfortable playing like Teamer Mirrors. You know what I mean? Because I don't know like the cards that are the most important. I can kind of like guess, but
Sure.
I don't have that play experience.
So is standard good or is standard bad?
I think standard's
I think
good.
it's good. I think it's bad when you have decks like Aetherworks Marvel. They're just ending the game essentially on turn 4, and it's like there's no decisions.
We have a ton of energy here because again, that shell is still good. It was good for Cat. It was good for Marvel. That hasn't changed. If all of them were then playing the exact same cards in the list, I think you'd have a problem.
Yeah.
But this sheer fact that like you don't know which 2-drop you want to play based on what you're doing. You can play so many colors. You have all these different options. Your sideboard cards are critical.
You do know, for the most part, at least 1 2-drop you're playing. You're playing Servant of the Conduit pretty much.
Sure, but that's like saying a
of
green
where
deck
they're
was
playing.
playing Birds of Paradise when it was standard, or
Yeah.
in Innistrad block you were playing Avis and Pilgrim. The green decks that want to play threats early are going to play the best mana creature that's available. I don't think that's a ding against
the fact that there's no like consensus like teamer list at this point. Like you see people splashing, people not splashing, people playing, four Glory Bringers, some people playing two, and then like Confiscation Ku's main deck.
Actually, none. Yeah, Ku.
Yeah, like there's all different ways you can do, and there's no consensus best list. And I think like the format is very interactive, and I think if you have an interactive format, I think you would have to consider that to be good.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah. I guess it just depends on how much you want to invest in the format. I feel like standard is very like intensive at this point in time.
It is, and there haven't been as many chances to play. I think for non like Pro Tour players, a lot of these players have played. So obviously the best of them played at Worlds, but also you had Nationals and then this to sort of help with that. But for the average player, you're probably not having as many chances to play this weekly. You can obviously play weekly, but I'm saying in like larger tournaments. But we'll see what this does to the GPs. You know what I mean? Again, the GPs could paint a different picture that's a little more worrying, but I think that as it stands right now, like, would it be better if we didn't have Kaladesh block anymore? Yeah, I think that's probably true. I think WotC has admitted how they just were unaware of how parasitic energy was going to be, and because of that, how it was going to be so hard for other cards to break through. You know what I mean? Like, that WotC is disappointed that dinosaurs can't compete with the energy shell. Like, they're upset about that.
For sure.
They just did Ixalan where they had a set where you had pirates and dinosaurs, and quite literally you had only one pirate actually. Hostage Taker matters.
That's the only one.
Vraska's technically a pirate.
Yeah.
But no, like not a single dinosaur showed up or matters. Like that.
The Frostodon. And the
Frostodon. No, I take it back.
Frostodon and
right.
Scavenger.
But they're not in dinosaur decks.
No, but they're just
good
like
cards.
there. They're just good cards. It doesn't matter that they're dinosaurs. There's no theme with that. So, they're upset about that, and it's because of Teamer. So we have to hope then all of these changes that they've made. We've already seen it in these blocks with the certain sideboard cards that have come back. The fact that Seth Manfield could duress Pascal Maynard is a pretty big deal compared to what we've had recently. And I think that you're going to see standards slowly move back to right now. Decisions matter. Decisions matter a lot here. When you were playing Marvel, we talked a whole bunch when you played that Marvel all day when we played that team event, and how so few of your decisions mattered. It was just race to energy to put Ulamog in play.
Yeah, it was the best standard format.
But that's what?
It's the best standard format.
Oh, I think it's the best. I think it's the best. I was like, what?
BAD.
Now all the decisions matter, even if some of the cards are the same, and that I think is a big improvement.
All I'm gonna say is, like, if you just want a great example, just go back and watch that Game 5 between Mike Siegrist and Samuel Allenfelt in the top 8, and like that's just a perfect example of like just interactive Magic, decisions mattering. It was a really tense game. Like, it was great. I don't know. Was there anything else you guys want to talk about in the Pro Tour?
We wanted to mention the
DQs that happened.
Yeah.
A lot of Dairy Queens. A lot of Dairy Queens in Albuquerque.
Blizzards.
You get a free Blizzard. That's it.
A lot of hot eats and cool.
I don't think you get a free Blizzard when you get DQ'd from the tournament. It's like the opposite. They take one from you.
You get a dilly bar or whatever it is.
No, they give you one of those hot dogs. You don't want a hot dog from Dairy Queen.
So the one that I remember freshly is the one that happened in round 15 of the Pro Tour that involved one LSV and an opponent of his. And this was at the end of the round.
Sounds like the Twilight Zone. I want you to know. Consider one LSV and an opponent. In a moment, we'll show you this opponent, and we'll see what happens to him. But we must remember, it's the Twilight Zone.
Okay, to the chase. The opponent has infinite time to read books, but breaks his glasses.
It was a cookbook.
So his opponent was Yao Zile.
Sorry.
And yeah, we're bad at names. I can't help it.
It's all Morgan.
Yep, it is all me. I am reading it currently, so yeah, all my fault. Basically, they used a improper method of determining the outcome of a match.
Don't say they.
That's what I'm reading directly from the.
That's so weird though, because if it was actually they, then LSV would have been disqualified.
Yeah, no.
So
apparently, Yao is the only one that is technically disqualified at this point in time. But this is directly from the article that they released about this. So I'm not trying to put words in Wizard's mouth.
Fair enough. I like how you put your hands up the whole time. Like,
I'm just no. There's no tricks on my sleeves. I'm raising my hands. Please do not.
You're not even wearing a shirt
right
right now. Morgan generally does the podcast shirtless.
Yes,
so.
very much as acceptable as I can be. As usually.
Little known fact that you listeners might not know.
Yeah, fun fact. Yeah. But basically, they were trying to. Yao was trying to chase the rabbit, as it were, at the end of the match, and this has been not a somewhat recent change, but something that is again, they warn you about this at the last two rounds of every Magic tournament, or they say like you can't really do anything else to determine the results of a match. You can't look at the top cards of your deck or anything like that. Like that's not something that you are allowed to do.
Yeah,
And this is kind of what happened with Yao during the end of this match. And as far as LSV, his side of the story, he kind of talked about it on his stream. He's like, or even like he commented on Reddit, I think as well. He's like, yeah, we signed the match slip, and Yao, my opponent was talking about like, I think I could have won. Started to look at like the top 3 cards of their deck, and LSV just kind of signed the match slip and walked away. And later on, judges asked him about the situation, and then he found out what actually eventually happened. But yeah, don't do this.
Yeah, I mean they hammer it home, especially in this area. Now I can't speak for all areas of the country or countries that people might be listening to this in, but around here it is usually hammered home. Do not roll dice, do not play rock paper scissors or a game of Uno to determine the outcome of a match. You cannot look at the top cards of your deck. So I think like people around here at least should know this. And I think for the most part, I mean, I think people that are playing in tournaments generally do know this, but it's also I think if you didn't know this, you probably wouldn't think too much of it. I don't think there was anything malicious
No.
intended here, or any kind of collusion or anything like that that was happening. So it almost feels like the punishment doesn't fit the crime, but I don't really know the rules as they are currently set up don't allow you to don't allow you to have access to information you otherwise would not have. You can reveal hands because you can do that at any time. You can just do that if you wanted to.
Yeah, you can just be like, look what I got.
Yeah, there's not a lot of strategic.
Look at this.
Yeah. Again, you're allowed to at any point show your opponent your hand if you want to.
If you want to,
so
yeah.
they can't really legislate whether or not you can talk about your hands with your opponent, because you can go, oops, my hand got revealed. That's weird.
That's weird.
But libraries are not; they are hidden zones, so you are not allowed to.
You can show your hands if you want to. You can leave your friends behind.
Your friends don't see your hands, and you don't see your hands, and
Yeah, they're friends of mine.
all right, disqualified.
Disqualified. So that was kind of situation with that. There's definitely some jokes targeted at LSB in order to keep I saw other pros saying like, can't believe what LSB did to keep his unintentional draw streak alive in the Pro Tour.
Yeah, because it was going to be the match was
That was going to be an
draw.
ID. An unintentional, not an ID, but an unintentional draw. So, which is it's a funny joke. Pros, that's a funny joke.
Yeah, I'm sure there's at least one person who does think it's a funny joke.
No, probably
Just
not.
throw that out there.
That's okay. But
Possibly his team as well probably didn't think it was funny.
Also didn't think it was great. Yeah. So the other one was in round 6.
yes, during round 6, a Pro Tour competitor, Hoang Hao Sean, not Sean, probably not Sean. Probably no U in there for that that sound.
Shame.
Was disqualified, and this was more of a kind of a serious thing. Basically, he was at a disadvantaged position on the battlefield after activating the ability of a Long-Tusked Cub. The indicator for the amount of energy the player had at resolution was not indicative of the cost that was supposed to be paid. So someone didn't pay the full price for the iron price. If you
don't pay the iron price, you
for
get
the
trouble.
Long-Tusked Cub activation, and basically once this happened, it was brought to the attention of a tournament official, and what happened pretty much after that. So
Yeah, I mean, they don't give too much more detail other than that. However, if you're getting DQ'd for something like that, he's either had multiple warnings for this type of deal, or there was I guess the story didn't add up
Right.
to the judge.
yeah.
Which, don't lie to judges. It's not good.
Yeah, they said that it was ruled that the action was a misrepresentation of the game state, and to preserve the tournament integrity, the player was disqualified.
Yeah.
So,
And this is somebody who, I believe was platinum a couple of years ago. So, I mean, this is, not some random player. So it was fairly substantial. Now, I can't really speak to if this was malicious or what, or we don't know all the interactions,
Right.
what happened, but obviously if you get DQ'd, that's pretty serious. So unfortunately that we have to talk about this kind of stuff, but it's part of the game, so I guess it happens. What do you guys think of the Pro Tour, being this far out from the set release?
It didn't. Once the Pro Tour actually happened, it didn't feel any different to me. Just like
Yeah.
whatever. I did refuse to watch any limited, but I don't think I had any.
No, that
do.
would have happened probably either. Maybe not either way. Maybe limited would have been more interesting if it hadn't already been like heavily featured.
Yeah, maybe that's true. I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't have had enough time to have such a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah,
about
exactly.
this
Like
format.
you just wouldn't have known any better, and then you're like, oh no.
Yeah. I'll say, like, I going into the Pro Tour, I was probably not as excited as I have been, about other Pro Tours. But after seeing, kind of the innovations that people came up with, I actually thought it was kind of cool, because we thought we knew the format, and then it was just like, well, these, this team is going to play this certain deck, expecting, this kind of field, and this team's playing, Vraska's and whatever. This team's playing mono black aggro.
I mean, we've
whatever.
been over this. The
Yeah.
deck that won the tournament was nearly the same as the deck that won the first
Right.
standard tournament of
That's
the.
true. That is true. But we hadn't really seen that deck since week one.
We hadn't, and then we also determined that Teamer was the best thing you could be doing in the format.
Right.
And-
But I'm just saying, like, it
okay.
was cool to see
No,
the tweaks that people came up with, because the lists weren't exactly what I was expecting.
Like I said,
if you enjoy minutia.
you're either a
But-
Morgan or a Dave.
But I think, like, if it's week one and we didn't know what the format was, I think you would have saw a lot of the, like, almost exact same decks. 'Cause you wouldn't have seen.
I think
as much of
that you could definitely make that argument.
Yeah, you wouldn't
and
have
like
seen
you
as
may
much
not
of
have
the-
seen things like tokens, or maybe tokens would have been like the breakout deck.
Right.
So, but you didn't like you had nationals, and you kind of had that be more of an evolution of the format, and you didn't have that chance for tokens kind of sweep the nation or anything like that. It never had like like nationals was the closest thing that it had to like really break out.
Yeah.
But I think that like, tokens could have potentially been a breakout deck for a Pro Tour if it had been earlier in the season and people had kind of caught on to the power of that deck. But I don't know. Like obviously we definitely talked about some of the interesting decks that showed up, but you still have the majority of the decks being decks that we already knew about to some degree.
Yeah,
as far as that goes. But I definitely can see like regardless of where the Pro Tour was, we probably would have seen a lot of that anyway.
Yeah, I'm just saying I'm a little bit more optimistic about them pushing the Pro Tours back in the future if it's going to be more of like, okay, like we have an established metagame, let's see what tweaks we can make to get an edge, versus like, a bunch of teams figure out what the best thing is and play it, and then you have like the Mardu Vehicles top 8 where it's like 7 out of 8. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of boring in my opinion, but.
No, I thought it was interesting to watch. Like I kept coming back to watch more of it and did that. It was enjoyable to watch. I do find myself just still wishing that they would have had more matches. I don't know. I think I'm done watching anything that isn't an actual match as far as coverage goes. I just immediately turn it back off and wait for more matches. But the matches were fun.
Yeah,
Enjoyed it.
I don't know how you fix that issue within like paper Magic. Like,
Backup matches, dude.
Yeah,
record
time-shifted.
record time shifted matches. That's really what they need to start doing. Just less. I don't know. By the time you get to Sunday, if you watched actually all the Pro Tour, you've seen the same R&D videos like
yeah,
100 times.
I
Yeah.
definitely.
Or they cycled through the teams for the 1,000th time. Like, look at these teams again. Team.
Yeah, I don't know.
Dun,
Yeah,
team.
their background music play constantly droning on is
new team and another team. We'll be back in 6 minutes. Team.
Oh wait, no! Don't forget about the Twitch ads.
They'll
be back after one-
Ultra Pro.
Yeah. No.
Teams.
No, the Twitch ads. Like,
Oh.
when it would break into like add 1 of 6, it's like, oh jeez.
Go ahead. Teams.
Well, I mean, like in
Yeah.
all honesty, just be like, I have Amazon Prime, so I have like Twitch Prime. You don't get ads,
Yeah.
so you just
Look
get
at
the
you.
full like. You don't get 6 minutes of ad reprieve.
I have
No,
the
just
peasant version.
Actual all of the teams.
Yeah, you get to make sure you see every one of them.
Team, you'll forget about us next time.
And I think, like, in all honesty, like that is a big problem because it affects my retention of actually wanting to like sit and continuously watch the Pro Tour. Because as soon as like they have the timer on, where it's like, oh, when is this coming back? Okay, I'll see you guys then. Goodbye.
Yeah, no, like, I'm
Adios.
out. And then like you'll do something else and you forget about it. And you'll come in halfway through the match and you'll enjoy watching the rest of it, but it'll be done really quick. And you're like, all right, cool, check it out again.
Hey, you know what would be really cool if they could just have a person there that is just like streaming Magic online, and then when they have downtime, just cut to them. Just like put Numa at the Pro Tour and
Oh
just
my
have him
God,
like cut it, like interstitials like between the matches and everything like that.
I've actually done that before. Maybe not like officially, but they've done that with like, hey, we've seen this deck like, on camera. Let's play this, in between rounds. It's just like,
Time
not that
shifted
interesting.
matches are where they need to do it.
I agree.
That's the answer.
I would love, and they probably won't do this. But by the way, I think they do a great job. Like actually, which is everything with the Pro Tour. I think has gotten better.
Oh, it certainly
over the last
has.
couple of years. So
Right.
I don't want to like
That's right.
criticize. I'm just saying like
Like Riley Knight is an actual treasure.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he's great.
Yeah.
I will watch that man commentate anything.
But like, yeah, time shifted match would be ideal for me as a watcher. But like, I mean, I guess there must be people out there that love all the extra stuff.
No.
I'm not one of them. But
There's no one who wants to watch the team name cycle for 10 minutes. There's no for the fourth time.
That is true. There's zero people that want that.
Okay, that's
there,
true.
there might be people that do want like sort of the basic information and context about the limited format and things like that. People who are new to the game, and this might be the first Pro Tour they're watching.
Yeah.
Those people might exist. Do they want to see it a billion times? No, but you can't necessarily control what time those people are viewing.
Sure.
So that is something that is repeat information that is potentially
But
valuable.
They are there. They tune in to watch people play Magic. That is why they tune in. So suggesting that like, well, somebody must like these, but the whole reason they're there is to watch matches of Magic. So like, just give us more matches of Magic. You have 4 people in there. You really only switch between 2 or 3 at any amount of time you're in the feature match area. Just set one as the backup match. That is, you're gonna film and you're gonna do it, and it'd be great. But hey, what do I know? I'm just your average consumer.
I see. Like again, I don't think that's what we are.
I'm not the average consumer for a Pro Tour.
I don't.
The novice is not the average consumer for the Pro Tour.
I think that's what they.
maybe that's what they want, but it's not. It's not.
It may
There's
not
no
be.
way in the world.
But I don't think like they can just assume that the grinder,
Well,
the
what's wrong
spike.
with playing more Magic either way? That's the show. The show is more Magic. No one goes out and no one listens to Mark Rosewater go, so then we made dinosaurs and it was awesome. And he said, you know what? Thanks, Mark. I want to buy more packs of Ixalan.
so all right. So
Sorry, I got real upset there for a sec.
we're all
I think I was
baseball,
in a pretty good Mark Rosewater impersonation right there. So,
we're all baseball fans, right?
yes.
But Morgan's the newest baseball.
Yeah, he's
fan.
the
but yeah. So what if like in between each inning they had like a 10 to 15 minute break? Would that make you want to watch baseball like continuously?
Yeah, like a 10 to 15 minute break where they talk about the design of baseball bats.
But you can't like it's not a one-to-one comparison.
So we knew that people wanted a new Louisville Slugger, but we wanted to make sure we had some surprises. So we made one that no matter which side you flip it on, it looks like a Louisville Slugger. It's a flip bat.
But again, like
But the other side is alternate art. alternate art.
So we knew that people wanted more home runs in the game. So we designed a new ball. If you think about baseball, that's actually the theory this year.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I
but
just
you can't make a one-to-one. I don't think you can make a
No,
one-to-one.
I think you can though, because the whole reason you're there to watch the Pro Tour is to watch people play Magic. So suggesting that anything else besides more matches of Magic is the correct thing they should be doing doesn't make any sense to me.
But
It doesn't matter who the viewer is. They don't like, oh, good, Pro Tour weekend. That means I get to see R&D videos every 25 minutes. Like, that's not why they turn it. That's not the way they click the button.
I don't mind that they have those. They should put those on the site, and like if you want to go watch that, hey, there you go.
Right.
Go for it.
Now, at some point, you're going to have to play those things. People do have to have breaks. They have teams for these things. That makes sense. If you want to do a comparison to baseball at the same time, a baseball game is 3 hours, not 10. But they have cycling teams for a reason. I don't know. This is an argument that's not going to get anywhere. I just wish they had more matches of Magic. That's all.
I think if to do that, then you probably need more than 4 people across like the coverage.
But Channel Fireball does it already at GPs. They do it with the teams that they have.
They have 4 people. Right?
Yes,
they have two different.
They literally
teams
already do it with the teams that they have. So
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they just can't figure it out. I don't know what to tell you. Maybe they've done market research that shows that that's not the best way to show the game to a.
I think they've had like margaritas.
Probably.
As much as I love the production value of the Pro Tours, I also love the simplicity of like the GP coverage. Like I said, like with time shifted matches. Because when it comes down to it, I just want to watch matches of Magic.
Right. That's all I want. That's all I want to see.
Let's find it some in between here. That's it.
Dun 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 teams.
I don't know. I think the GP coverage is definitely more angled at the spike, the grinder.
Cool.
And I don't think. I think the closer that you get to the maker of the product, the more clean and less the more clean and the less obtuse they want it to be. And I think like time shifted Magic.
Full of ads.
yes, correct. You figured it out. But you know what I mean. The closer it gets to WotC, the more that they want to have like a nice, clean package product. I don't know if time shifted Magic can be that.
I think it can be.
Yes, we have to agree.
I'm not going to engage anymore. I think it can be. Let's go to the end.
Okay. All right. So what's happening this weekend? So we have GP Atlanta, Warsaw, and Shanghai, which are all standard as we discussed. There's no Star City Games tournament this weekend because they are running GP Atlanta. So if you are heading down there to play some standard, best of luck to you. Or if you're going to Warsaw or Shanghai, best of luck to you in playing whatever standard deck that you would like to play. And if it's all Team Energy, you can just yell in Twitter to ban some stuff.
Ban a tune. A tune with anything too strong.
Just ban anything that says energy on it. So that's going to be happening over this weekend. And that's going to be pretty much it for the show. If you definitely,
I can do this part.
Okay,
I know you normally do, but I can do this part.
All right,
ready?
Yeah.
We're on Twitter. Facebook. Patreon. Rate us on iTunes. And watch or listen to other things on MTGcast. Teams. Geico. BCW Supplies. Comic Town.
Yeah, I like that. Let's just put that on a loop for 10 hours. And
you can listen to that until next week.
Yeah,
in the next episode.
Pretty much. Yeah, call that a day. I like how you just shouted out company names. Like we have a Twitter. It's your end step, and when you add us, it's at your end step.
Yeah, people know.
Do they?
Oh, if we cycle it enough, they'll figure it out.
See, like they have the benefit of like a visual medium on the streaming.
At least 3 times in an hour.
And
so.
Well, at least they know if we ever do this on Twitch, like what we can do at the end.
I do apologize because I think I said Geico before I said other sponsors. That's the only ad I ever see.
Yeah, we're not actually sponsored by Geico.
No, unfortunately, that little green guy is not our friend.
I heard he can lick his eyeballs.
Probably. That's what geckos do. So. But he's like a weird, like anthropomorphized gecko, so I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe that's the trade-off for like being able to stand upright. You can't lick his eyes. But no, we also have Facebook, just at your NSTEB when you do a search for us. Also email at yourNSTEB@gmail.com. Again, rate us on iTunes if you did that was correct. That was good, and that was a good get. Also, listen to other stuff on MGG Cast because there's plenty of good Magic podcasts to check out. Check out our lovely sponsors, BCW Supplies and Comic Town, on their respective Facebook pages for more information about those two fantastic companies. Yeah, that's going to be everything for this week. So we appreciate you guys listening. every week. You have a great one.
Bye.
Teams. Other teams.